Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast, OnlyMamas. I'm Nita Marie,
And I'm Holly Jane.
and today we're going to talk a little bit about online Karens and our experiences of people, particularly women, who kind of try to make us feel a little shameful about our job or try to call us out in some way because they don't agree with our modeling career.
Yeah.
So, Holly, I know you've had several experiences. I've had several experiences. Do you want to share with me something that might have just recently happened?
Well, trying to think without getting like too um online. Well, I have a lot of real life Karens. I don't know about you, but I
Luckily,
mean,
I don't have as many real life Karens.
you
So I
don't.
think you might have more than I do. Yeah, mine's more
Yeah,
online.
there are a lot of and they don't get to me. I think that they do, but they
Yeah.
don't.
Oh, that's good.
These are people Karens are people that don't have a lot going on,
Yeah.
right? Like you have a lot of time on your hands if you're a Karen. Like you're
Right.
clearly not that successful. You clearly just don't have enough going on to fill your time. There's not a lot of excitement in your life. You just kind of fell into the monotony of, suburbia life and you're bored.
I think
And you
the
wish that you could
boredom.
have
Yeah,
this, yeah, and you wish that you could have this excitement. And we're both aware of that. So
yeah, yeah.
it doesn't bother me. I'm doing so much better than you. I'm more exciting than you. I'm more accomplished than you. So yeah, no, it doesn't bother me at all. Same with online though. I know there are some Karens online. I don't pay as much attention because and again, I think that they think, oh, I'm getting to you. No,
Yeah.
no, no. I'm on the field and you're in the bleachers. So, no, you're not getting to me
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
yeah, we're
yeah,
actually the ones in the spotlight with the
yeah,
excitement and you're just watching. So,
yeah.
whatever you say, we're still going to carry on. We're still going to record. We're still going to do everything that we're doing. Notice we haven't stopped. And yeah, it's hilarious. I think it doesn't impact me as much because, and I don't know about you, I'm curious. I don't have time to read through all the comments. So, well,
Yeah.
sometimes we'll come across something and Karens make themselves known, like, okay, I need to block you because they'll go comment in the comments. And I try to answer as many as I can, but with all of the accounts that we have, like, I have so many Instagram accounts, and then we have Twitter, and then we have,
Yeah.
we're on all of these platforms. And with the amount of times that I'm posting a day, there's no way that I'm even going to see all the comments,
Yeah. Yeah.
have time to respond to the comments, and most of them are positive. So I'd have to be like digging for negative comments, and I'll accidentally come across some, like little like puke emojis, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, you're really bored today. You had time to go and watch my content, and then you took the time to comment. So that says more about you than it does me.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I always have to remember when I get any negativity in general. So it's funny because I've had a lot of in-person Karens, but people that don't even know what I do. Like they don't even know my job. They're just a Karen because I tend to attract those people. Like one
Really?
time, yeah, it's just weird. One time I was at a Mexican restaurant and I had some of my girlfriends there and we were having fun. The waiter was giving us margaritas, which might not have been a good idea because we were getting a little loud, but we weren't that loud. It was a small Mexican restaurant, right? And we were sitting next to a couple. Well, I wasn't even the one talking loud. Like, I know I can have a loud voice, but I wasn't the one talking loud. My friends get up to go to the bathroom, and the lady comes over and she gets right in my face and starts pointing at me. She goes, "You have no idea how rude you are. Nobody else can get anything done because of how loud you are." And she's
Get
like, "It's
anything done? You're
very
eating.
rude."
You're there to eat. What do
Okay,
you?
she
You're
said not getting anything done. Nobody else can enjoy their dinner because of
Oh,
how
okay.
rude
Okay.
you are.
I was
Yeah.
like, what do you need to get? Are you here to mop? Like, are you going to go
Yeah,
work for
right,
your
right,
food?
right.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah. She's like, "We can't even enjoy our nice dinner because of how loud you are." And I just was like sitting there in shock that she had the audacity to come up and
Yeah.
yell at me like I was her child and point her finger at me. And I was just thinking, I was like, I wonder why she did that to me when I wasn't even the one loud, and she
Yeah.
waited until all of my friends left, so like I'm by myself, right? Because she's probably too much of a chicken to come up to a group of people.
Yes.
And then I just kind of, she went back to her chair and she's like mad and she's like, "Urgh." And of course she's looking like that to her date or husband or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're just so grumpy and mad and angry. And I just thought, this is much more than you're just mad because we're having a good time. Obviously, us having a good time is triggering the fact that you have a very boring life because
Right.
you just
Yeah.
want to sit there and, talk about nothing. And you're upset that you can't because we're actually having fun, which makes a reflection of how like little fun you're probably having in your life.
Yeah.
And it was like a little off-putting because I don't like people confronting me in person, but I had another situation happen like that too at another restaurant that wasn't anything to do with me being loud, but I went in to go get takeout, and
Yeah.
so it's a small little restaurant, right? And I went in to go get takeout, come back to my car, and my car is on, and the lights were on, right? And I was like checking on something on my phone, and I guess the light was shining into the window and someone was sitting there in the window, right? I
Yeah.
wasn't even there for very long. I think I was there for like 5 minutes. This guy walks out of the restaurant, comes up to my car, knocks on the car. I'm like, "Hi." And he's like, "Could you please leave? Your lights are shining right into my window and we're trying to have dinner." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Why are you so angry? Like, you could have just been a little bit nicer and come up and said, 'Hey, do you know your lights are shining in my window?'" But no, these people that both came up to me two different times in two different restaurants were very, very mad. And I just thought, you have some other anger issues going on. If this is
Yeah.
making you that mad, there's
Yeah.
something else that's making
Wrong in
you
your
really
life.
mad in your life, you know?
Definitely. I wonder if they recognized you. I wonder if
I
if
don't
if they
know.
knew who you were,
Yeah.
and maybe that's what prompted her to come up to you. I'm actually surprised that she came up to you. Most, I mean, at least I can give her, I mean, she's still a, you know what, but she's still a see you next Tuesday, but at
See you
least,
Tuesday.
yeah, but I know I can't say you know what I want to on her, but at least I guess I have to give her some props for coming up to you, because so many, like in my area,
Just talk behind your back.
they just talk like we're in middle school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just act like we're in middle school, and they talk and they talk behind my back, and it's like,
Yes.
why don't you just come over and let's have a conversation.
True.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
guarantee you're gonna be very humbled when you leave, but you know that, and so you won't do it. Yeah,
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people do lack confidence when it comes to confrontation. Like
yeah,
they would rather just talk about you behind your back than actually come directly to you and say, "Hey, this is bothering me."
yeah,
I had another situation happen like that with one of my neighbors, but again, it had nothing to do with my online modeling. But who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe they know and they're just finding other things to get mad at me about. But this was about my dog. Like my
mm,
dog was not really a bad dog, but she would like howl every now and then, but it wasn't
yeah.
for a long period of time. Well, she kept calling the Humane Society on us, and she kept calling the HOA, but yet she'd be nice to me in my face. Like she'd be
Yeah.
nice to me like to my face and actually ask if we could take her daughter with us hiking with our dog. But then she's calling the Humane Society behind our back
What
on
a
my dog.
nut.
Yeah. And it really got to the point that they said they were so bothered by my dog, which I don't understand why, because she did not sit out there and bark. Like I
Yeah,
understand barking dogs can be annoying if it's
yeah,
over like 15 minutes. It's like, get that dog to be quiet, right?
right, right.
This would be like maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, but nothing excessive. And they ended up actually changing out their windows in their house to be soundproof windows because they did not want to hear anything happening at my house. and they were, complaining to HOA and calling the Humane Society.
Right.
And I just feel like that was really lame. Like, why don't you just talk to me? I would have been able to
Right.
probably make some more amends if you
Right.
came to me in a decent way. Like, even the person that might be bothered by anything you're doing, like, if you come to me in a decent way, I'm not going to be like a bitch,
Right.
like,
Right.
I'm
We'll
going
just
to
have a
be
conversation.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be
At this
reasonable.
point, I will be. But yes, initially, no.
Yeah.
I know. I come off as like an arrogant, see you next Tuesday myself. I think I'm just super fired up on this
Yeah, yeah,
topic.
yeah.
I'm
It's
like, I'm such a
hard.
sweet person, but I get really fired up on this topic because
Yeah,
I like, just don't act like we're in middle school, please.
right. And
Because then
why?
because,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I don't think I'm better than anybody, but now I do because
Because the way you're acting. Yeah,
now I do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, what about online Karens? Have you had anyone like really go off on that?
I can't, I can't think of a one individual that's like really shown up in all of my stuff, making comments. I get the one off, but I don't pay a lot of attention to comments, so I don't know. I'm sure there is. I mean, with the amount of exposure that we have, I'm sure like we just don't even, it's like we're like blissfully unaware, and someone's like, writing really mean comments in our comment section all the time, and I'm just
Yeah,
like, skip to Maloo.
yeah. I've had some actually, surprisingly, I've had some really bad things on my YouTube. Um,
Really?
yeah, just about like, because I talk about being openly Christian, and so it's like
Okay.
just some bad comments about me going to
Sure.
hell, and
Yeah.
I need to repent, and I'm not really Christian if I keep doing something that's not Christian,
Yeah.
all that. And I mean, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I get it, but anyone who is actively trying to bring someone else down online is
Yeah.
also not Christian. Like if you're actively
Right.
like totally spamming their, comment section about how much of a terrible person they are, then you're also not really a great person because you don't have anything else that you're doing productively other than trying to bring someone down online.
Right. Well, if there's any negativity at all coming from them, they're not Christian. Well, okay. I mean, well, and we both did this. We both were out there in the media, with our
Yeah.
stories that had to do with us being religious and, doing what we do. Um, and you went mega viral. So did I. I chose not to look at the comments because I knew these are going to be nasty.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be a mix. It's probably a 50-50 split of good for you.
Uh-huh.
You should have left that cult anyways.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the other side, just pure hate and
Yeah.
judgment and like, oh my gosh, can't believe that she's calling herself a Christian and she
Yeah.
does this. So I knew it was going to be bad, and so I was like, okay, we're being seen by millions right now, and we're just going to close our eyes and we're not going to look.
Yeah. True. Right.
Because I
Which
knew
is
this
good.
is not going to be good for my mental health right now. Because you want to defend yourself, but then you just look like a lunatic. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to just like, when you
Yeah.
really put yourself out there like that and you're going viral in the news media, you have to just not look. It's not good for your sanity to look at those
Yeah.
comments.
It's true. And I think that people like to have something to hate on because it's entertainment, right?
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
have to
absolutely.
remember, we're in the spotlight because this is entertainment. So there's going to be
Hmm.
people that have their own opinions about that.
Yeah,
And we have to be strong about it because otherwise, why are we in the spotlight? Like, I wouldn't be in the spotlight if I'm not expecting to get some kind of opinions back. You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. You have to be able to handle it. You have to have very thick skin,
Yeah, right.
and just
Yeah.
know that it's expected. Like, okay, the good's going to come, so is the bad.
I think the hard thing about it is I believe that part of the reason why people are leaving the Christian faith is because if they do anything that could be maybe not considered Christian or not considered holy, they get so much more criticism and hate because they're Christian, right?
Yeah,
Versus if they're just like a
a
sinner and a
person.
heathen, yeah, if they're just a sinner and a heathen, they're like, oh, well, they're already a sinner and a heathen, so whatever. But if someone actually is saying I'm Christian, but they're not living up to this like perfect ideal world, then they
Right.
get more judgment and more hate. And I just think that's not helping the Christian faith at all. Like there's more people leaving the Christian faith, the Catholic faith, the Mormon faith than any other faith right now because of how judgmental people are.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. You know, if society's saying, well, you don't belong because you don't live up to the standard, and people are like, okay, maybe I don't. I don't fit into this box, so I'm going to
Yeah.
leave. But you get to decide what that box looks like and if you fit into it or not, just like anything else that you do,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I've had so many people that are like, "Oh, I think I'd burn the minute I stepped inside a church or something like that," right? Like,
Right,
I can't go to church. Like, I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, none of us are like priests or nuns. Like,
right,
even the priests aren't perfect, you know? Like,
right. They have their own scandals.
yeah, I've had plenty of priest scandals out there in the
Yeah.
Catholic faith. So I just feel like those online haters are just making it harder for anyone to actually be attracted to the Christian faith anyway.
So, Nita, do you have like, I know we have friends in this industry, but do you have like normal friends?
I do have normal friends, and I actually prefer some of those normal friends over other friends, like in the industry sometimes, because
Yeah.
I really like just being normal and not talking about work, not feeling
Yeah.
like I have to be on all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So I have some friends that still don't really know what I do, and they don't talk about it at all either.
They don't know what you do?
Yeah, I have some friends that don't know what I do. I know.
Are you afraid to tell, like, why would they not know? See, I'm
They're
now
not my
if
close friends, not my
they're
close
not
close
close.
friends.
Okay, there it's
All
kind of
my
more of an
close.
acquaintance that you're getting to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but I do like to kind of in the relationship let them know closer, like up front rather
Yes.
than later, because I
Yeah.
don't want them to find out later and think that I was lying to them. So I try
Yeah.
to tell them a little bit up front.
Yeah. I
What about you?
the area that I'm in, I mean, people are so,
You have a hard time telling them?
they live in a perfect little bubble, and
Yeah,
I haven't met anyone that that I got the sense from that this is okay and safe to share.
yeah,
And so, I mean, I guess it was a lie by omission. I met someone that, she asked what I do, and I said, well, I'm an influencer. Just truthful, and I had that travel account, the travel blog account. And so it
true.
was like, this is what I do, which is in part the truth, but I didn't share the whole truth. It was my first time meeting her, and I was just like, I'm not sure. So, I mean, maybe she did feel like, because obviously she found out, and then, she acted like a lunatic, and, we don't talk anymore. But
Oh, she did?
yeah, she's a middle school drama
Oh,
queen
okay.
and liar and some other things. But we don't talk anymore. But I just never felt comfortable. I just got that sense that, okay, I just don't know if this is safe to
Yeah,
tell her. Obviously that came to be true, that it's not safe to tell
yeah,
you if you're not okay with it. Yeah, I just haven't met someone in person that I feel comfortable with. So I don't have a lot of friends that aren't in the industry. The friends that I have that aren't in the industry, they were friends prior.
yeah, yeah,
So, they knew me from the past life when I used to go to work.
yeah.
And we were close, and they really understand who I am. They know my personality very well. And they understand that when I'm making reels or, other content, that's Holly for an hour.
Yeah.
And then this is Holly for the rest of the time. This is real me, so they can look past that persona. I don't think they follow me on social media.
Uh-huh.
But I think part of the problem, and I think I said this before in our last podcast, if someone sees you on social media first, they create this idea of who you are, and that may or may not be okay. And it's really hard for them to look past
Past
it.
that. Yeah.
So I
Agreed.
don't I don't understand why.
Yeah.
I'm able to do that, but I am learning that a lot of people are not able to do that. So,
Yeah.
um, And then it's just, I don't know, I find it difficult, not only because of the stigma of what we do, because it's so awful, but it's also, we don't live that 9 to 5 life. We
Yeah.
travel a lot. We're doing a lot of things that are out of the norm,
Yeah. Right.
right? So it's not a normal suburbia life,
Yeah.
and it can be difficult to relate to someone that has that 9 to 5.
Sure.
I For me, it's hard to find a lot to talk about and to really relate to this person. Maybe it's just the moms in my area that all they want to talk about is like, I took Susie to gymnastics today, and next week is cheer. And oh, what are
Right.
you doing this weekend? Oh, we're going to be at T-ball practice. You're boring.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
boring. Like, what
Yeah.
about you? Do you have a life? Are you working on writing a book? You starting a
Yeah.
business? Like, what do we have going on?
Going on. Right.
And
Right. Right.
nothing, just the 9 to 5, every day is Groundhog's Day. And I don't have anything in common with that.
Right.
We're
I do.
outside of the box thinkers and creators, and not just this business, but we have other businesses too. And we're
Yeah.
always creating. And, we're entrepreneurs and we think big. And so when
Yeah.
someone doesn't, it's hard for me to understand someone that's okay with just being mediocre,
Yeah.
especially women. I'm not even talking about the men, I'm talking about the women. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to the men, I feel like men don't, even after kids, don't quite lose their identity like a lot of women do. So I have a lot of guy friends and fans that I'm very fond of, and they do work a 9 to 5, but they're successful, they're go-getters, and they still do have a life outside of kids. But I just feel like a lot of these moms, they don't. But I
Hmm.
think you're right. I think once my book comes out and I start networking with other writers, other authors, I think maybe I'll find some other creators that outside of this industry
Yeah.
that I can relate to
Yeah.
still, and maybe make some friends with. And
Yeah.
I am going to rip the Band-Aid off right away. Like, this is who I am. Do you want
Yeah.
to still talk to me?
Yeah,
Can we
like,
be
can we still be
friends?
friends? Yeah, this is who I am. Can we
Yeah.
still be friends? And there might be some people that you just don't know would be okay with that too, right? If you're
Right.
willing to
True.
just like be a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah.
There could be more people that were like, oh, actually, that's really cool. I thought about doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Even if it's not something you're comfortable with,
yeah,
most people kind of have an idea of like, okay, what we make based on like our follower count and such. And you would think as women that would want to support another woman, and they would think like, that's badass. The fact that you single-handedly, without leaving your house,
yeah,
did what you did and got to where you are, that's awesome. I wish I could do it. I wish I could be comfortable enough and have the confidence to do what you do. Why is that not the case? Like, why
right.
is that not what's said? Instead of like, oh my gosh, you're showing cookies for dollars? Like,
Right.
you are crazy. I want nothing to do with you. Like, I wish I could do what you do. I'm not comfortable doing it, but I think it's so badass that you have the following that you do, and that you were able to do this. That should be what's said.
Yeah, I agree. And that's just more about us changing the culture of women lifting up women,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, this has been an amazing topic. I'm so glad we were able to talk about this, and I can't wait to hear what else we come up with our next podcast. If you have some
I'm excited.
suggestions, make sure to comment below,
Yeah, we'd
and
love to hear what you
we'd love
guys
to
want
hear
to
your
know.
suggestions
Yeah,
about topics for our next podcast, and
yeah,
eventually we'll get some guests on here too. So,
yeah.
thanks everyone.